Just imagine, students no longer scrambling to get a bus or a taxi, but getting to school safely in comfort. Can you see it? Well, this picture is already a reality for many students in Clarendon, and in today's edition of Jamaica Magazine, we'll tell you how it was made possible. I'm Theodore Henry, welcome to the show. In today's package, we'll also take a ride on the north-south link of Highway 2000 using the Mount Rossa bypass. Plus, new legislation will make it easier to administer the estates of people who die without leaving a will. But that doesn't mean you shouldn't set your house in order. A step-by-step guide to making a will is coming up in this half hour. So much information in such a short time, so let's get to it.
Measles, mumps, and rubella are potentially dangerous childhood diseases. Parents, ensure your children get the MMR vaccine to protect them. The first shot should be given when children are between 12 and 15 months old, and another before they start school. Women of childbearing age should also ensure they get the MMR vaccine, as they could transmit dangerous conditions to their children if infected while pregnant. To know more, visit your nearest clinic or health center or contact the Ministry of Health.
Good day, I'm Stacey Ann Smith, and this is your JIS News for Tuesday, April 21. The Industry Ministry says a non-binding Memorandum of Understanding MOU to support Jamaica's Logistics Hub initiative will be signed following discussions with the Ministers of Finance and Transport. In a release, the ministry said the decision to sign the MOU with Croc Systems and the Anchor Finance Group was made following a cabinet meeting on Monday. The MOU will provide a framework for the government and investors to begin detailed and confidential discussions on projects that could benefit from the $5 billion investment in the logistics hub. At a function on Monday, the portfolio minister emphasized the purpose of the MOU and insisted that no contract had yet been awarded.
The MOU was deliberately designed to give Croc and its consortium of financiers, including Anchor Finance Group, LLC, a period of 30 days in which to prove to the satisfaction of the government both the legitimacy of the proposed funding and the fit and proper status of the persons involved in Croc, failing which the MOU automatically terminates.
The University of the West Indies, which recently got a license to grow ganja for medical research, is moving full speed ahead with plans to position Jamaica as a key player in the medical marijuana industry. The university held a symbolic ganja tree planting ceremony on Monday at the Faculty of Medical Sciences Teaching and Research Complex. Science and Technology Minister Philip Paulwell, who urged researchers to consider value-added products from marijuana, also asked them to keep him updated on projects being explored.
I want to know when you start to do the experimentation, what is found in the plant. We have to start this way so that we can set the stage for the full commercialization, because tracing the plant from birth to money must be a priority.
The UWI will also set the pace for the development of a legal cannabis industry. Meanwhile, Justice Minister Senator Mark Golding says the upcoming Cannabis Licensing Authority, which will regulate Jamaica's ganja industry, must observe two main rules while carrying out its duties. He says the authority, which will oversee the cultivation, processing and sale of ganja, must make sure its operations are compliant with Jamaica's international treaties.
We cannot go outside of our international obligations in this regard. And secondly, it must be designed in a way that is inclusive and allows small farmers, especially those who have been operating in the shadows for a long time, to come into a lawful industry if they wish to do so.
Senator Golding was speaking recently at a luncheon hosted by the Rotary Club of Kingston. The changes to rules governing the use of marijuana in Jamaica are in keeping with the Dangerous Drugs Amendment Act 2015, which came into effect on April 15. Jamaica's tourism product will be boosted with the rehabilitation of 6 kilometers of roadway from Mountainside to Watchwell in St. Elizabeth. About $100 million will be spent to rehabilitate the roadway, which connects about 4 constituencies. The roadway, when completed, will also improve access to a kampong and other tourist attractions.
It also opens up the opportunities of visitors in Treasure Beach to go and visit the attractions that are outside, whether Appleton Tour, Holland Bamboo, the zoo, all the things that are open.
The Tourism and Entertainment Minister, who went to look at the mountainside to Watchwell Roadway recently, said the project would be funded by the Tourism Enhancement Fund and the Road Maintenance Fund. The National Works Agency will be in charge of the repairs. And finally, government will be working out the details of a program with multilateral agencies and the United States to help Jamaicans begin to feel the effects of the country's economic reform program. The disclosure was made by Finance Minister Dr. Peter Phillips in an interview with JIS News after he attended an IMF World Bank spring meeting in Washington, D.C. last week.
There is strong recognition of the quality and value of Jamaica's economic reform program, and a strong willingness to search out even better ways of collaborating with Jamaica in trying to get greater levels of growth and employment in the country.
While in Washington, the Finance Minister co-chaired discussions by a G20 development working group looking at challenges facing the economies of Caribbean countries. And that's it for JIS News Today. I'm Stacey Ann Smith. Thank you for watching.
I say be careful what you teach your little children. Make sure I know something to hurt them.
Parents, keep your children safe and protected. Stay alert and be aware of where your children are at all times. Submit the latest photo of your child to his or her school. Know what's happening with your child. Listen to them when they say they don't feel comfortable going to a certain place or being around certain persons. Act quickly when your child tells you he or she has been touched inappropriately or approached with unwanted requests. Be the change. Help us protect our children. For more information, call 1-888-776-8328 or 1-876-878-2882.
Government is partnering with the private sector and other stakeholders to get students in some rural communities to and from school safely. The initiative has so far got good reviews and an endorsement from the Education Minister, who's encouraging other schools and communities to do the same. Let's run over to Clarendon to see why.
School children in Clarendon are riding to classes in safety and comfort. Since February 2015, they've been on board the Rural Safe School Transportation Program.
It's an example to other areas.
This landmark project was conceptualized by the Clarendon Parish Council. It's now a successful partnership involving the Ministry of Transport, Works and Housing, the Transport Authority, Jamaica Constabulary Force, schools in the parish and private bus operators. It began by transporting 1,700 students from 3 Clarendon high schools, but has since expanded to 7 schools and is looking to accommodate even more. 10 private bus operators were brought on board to supplement the initial 3 JUTC buses. Those private bus operators had to sign a memorandum of understanding, agreeing to adhere to standards set out by the Transport Authority.
It is a standard-driven program, and we do everything to ensure that the standards are maintained. Any operator that fails to maintain the standards will not be maintained in the program. Safe, the emphasis on safe. And so the buses that are utilized in this program have to meet certain structural integrity criteria. They have to be safe, they have to be clean, they have to have safety gadgets attached to them.
It mirrors the St. Catherine's school bus program, which was launched in September 2013, and the school's transportation program in Portmore and Manchester.
We work closely with the school, the PTA and the school administration to ensure that our students are adhering to the timetables so that again it becomes part of their own discipline to ensure punctuality, which later on will redound in a high level of productivity.
For the long term, government sees the system in Clarendon, St. Catherine and Manchester as a blueprint for fine-tuning strategies to institute a national rural school transportation service.
We won't be able to replicate JUTCs all over the island, but nonetheless, within the constraints of the resources available to us, I commit that my ministry will work with the relevant parties in providing safe transportation to and from school for all our school children.
The Clarendon example points to huge benefits from such a system.
Arrival at school on time,
Improvement in punctuality at school, improvement in attendance. And what I mean by improvement in attendance? Because students are not benefiting from lower fare, traveling comfort, no more lapping up, restoration of discipline, again, no lewd and loud music, no careless and reckless driving. Operators are more courteous.
It's a breath of fresh air for us at Garvey Maceo because we were exposed initially to like the shuttle buses.
But now that that does not exist anymore, we feel assured that our students will come ready for learning, settled.
We normally arrive at school very late because of the shuttle buses. They didn't have any specific time to pick us up. And at times, I was really annoyed by the music and the lapping up. Now I can go to school in fine style and comfort.
And also the students, they get to integrate.
If I'm not able to study at home, I'm able to study in the bus on my way to school.
Everybody want the AC, so everybody take the bus. So we appreciate it and we love it a lot. We thank the government a lot for putting this service in place for us.
It's very important that we ensure that our children are safe all the time, but particularly on the way to and from school. Through creative thinking, we can provide a worthy service which allows our children to move to and from safely and in some level of comfort.
Driver, slow down and stop the reckless overtaking, no?
You never hear so time is money.
Easy, driver. Well, nobody must man and taxi driver drive so bad.
Why him have to drive so hard? Me not gonna make you kill off me and me picnic them.
One stop driver. Make her come off this bus. Me say stop.
Me coming with you. The rest I will not take chance in the life. Lord of mercy. That could have been us.
And look how we want the money.
Passengers, your safety is in your hands. Say one-stop driver and get off if the driver is speeding, overtaking recklessly, and not obeying the rules of the road. Don't give away your life. It is too precious.
Well, as you saw, the Rural Safe School Bus Program should play a big part in improving road safety for our children. Now, as we continue to focus on transportation, some news on Highway 2000. Last Friday, the Kingston to Maypen leg of the highway was renamed the P.J. Patterson Highway in honor of our longest-serving Prime Minister. It's a fact. Highway 2000 has made transportation so much better. And last August, the north-south link of that highway, the Mount Rosso bypass, was opened. Up next, features of the new road and the reason it's making life easier for commuters.
If you're a regular traveler to the North Coast, you would know about getting stuck on Mount Russell Hill and waiting hours upon hours to bypass trucks that move at snail speed. The narrow, winding and sometimes treacherous journey up the steep incline has been off-putting for many persons who desire to move from one end of the island to the next. But now there's a better way to travel, the Mount Russell bypass.
The Mount Rosso bypass section is part of what we call our north-south highway, which will link the south coast of Jamaica all the way through to the north coast of Jamaica. We believe when the highway is completed in 2016, this highway will change the way where Jamaicans choose to live and where they choose to work. It will also significantly impact the tourism industry by providing opportunities for visitors who now just come into the north coast to be able to see the rest of Jamaica.
The 19.3 kilometers Mount Rosso section, which traverses some of the steepest terrain in Jamaica, has already seen Jamaicans covering what has at times been a 2-hour journey in less than 15 minutes. However, there are a number of new safety features which have been included in the design to ensure that you make the best use of the thoroughfare.
One of the many safety features of the Mount Rosso bypass section of the highway is providing guidance to heavy vehicles which are going down the hill. The sign, which is located at the top of the long decline going down to Linstead, provides truckers, especially truckers, with some maximum speeds that they are able to safely traverse the hill.
The highway features 2 southbound lanes and 3 northbound lanes, with the extra lane being a truck or climbing lane. This auxiliary lane allows slower vehicles ascending the steep grade to keep left while permitting other faster vehicles to pass without slowing down. Motorists capable of maintaining the 80 km/h speed limit can proceed in the central lane, whereas vehicles operating below this speed limit, such as loaded trucks, are encouraged to keep to the extreme left lane.
Throughout Jamaica, we've had problems with trucks which lose braking and then end up with disastrous consequences. So on Mount Rasta, we have special features where if a truck loses its brake, then it can go off into these what we call arrestor beds.
Arrestor beds or emergency escape ramps enable vehicles that are having braking problems to stop safely. The facility has been designed to accommodate vehicles as large as tractor trailers. A lay-by has been provided for motorists traveling southbound at the start of the 8% slope. This allows motorists somewhere to pull over and to make precautionary checks to ensure that the vehicle's brakes are okay and or that the load they are carrying is secure. These strips have been installed as a road safety feature to alert motorists that there are potential hazards ahead, such as bends and emergency ramps. The strips cause a vibration and an audible rumbling transmitted through the wheels and into the vehicle's interior. They are also utilized on approach to the toll plaza to encourage motorists to reduce their speed. Motorists should not proceed through heavy smoke on the highway. Stop and pull over onto the verge and call the toll emergency number for assistance. Once the report has been lodged, a patrol vehicle will be dispatched. Motorists are required to follow the instructions of the patrol officer. When proceeding through fog, motorists should reduce their speed to the point that they are able to travel safely, stay in the left lane, and put on their hazard lights. Motorists are being encouraged to be prepared when traveling the Mount Rasta bypass and any thoroughfare across the island for that matter. Once the do's are practiced, the driving experience should be a pleasant one. The Mount Rasta bypass is part of the Highway 2000 project, which will ultimately connect all of our largest cities through a high-speed multi-lane tolled highway network.
The Highway 2000 overall started in 2003, and so far we have constructed approximately 70 kilometers of tolled highway. 50 kilometers from Kingston through to Maypen, including the Portmore Causeway, which we call east-west link of the highway, and 20 kilometers which have been built to date on the north-south link of the highway. This section, the north-south link, will be completed in 2016, and that will complete the connection from south to north. Once we complete that, then we'll have the final section of the highway, which will go all the way from Maypen into Montego Bay.
To find out more about the work being done under the Highway 2000 banner, contact NROC at 929-1581 or visit their website h2kjamaica.com.
See Marcia husband there, him a one of the biggest juggies.
Wait, somebody a scream.
Lord, them a bundle up rice to work and never pay the extortion money.
Who them man there? How would them a do Jackie little daughter?
It's serious times. Speak up for justice and keep your eyes open. When you hear about any crime, report it. Silence brings violence.
A message from the Ministry of National Security.
3 students were among 4 persons brutally murdered in Clarendon last week. Our nation's leaders have reached out to the grieving families and support is being provided from the various agencies. But people, we need to stop this bloodletting. Enough is enough, man.
We need to do better in Jamaica. And not for everything we fight, we quarrel, and we murder. We need to begin to live in keeping with our motto, out of many one. Well, if we're one people, we shouldn't be killing each other. We shouldn't be fighting and quarreling. We should be trying to lift each other. We should be trying to help each other, not to murder each other. We have settler society. We have to go back to being a people of strong values, of service, and we'll pay attention and unite in our communities, and we will bring about peace.
Jamaica needs to understand, all of us, that this is not only a government issue. This is not a situation where the laws are not in place, the agencies are not in place. This is a serious indictment and blot on our culture, where persons are allowing these kinds of barbaric acts to take place on our children. And it's not only when it happens to the child, but it's the children around that will also suffer. And oftentimes they're the ones who suffer because they're afraid to get on with their lives. And so we're seeing it in too many communities now, and I'm just saying enough is enough. Enough is enough, really.
It is with considerable pleasure that I present to the Senate today this bill, the Administrator General's Amendment Act. This bill has the potential to transform the lives of many families who have been adversely affected by the antiquated and cumbersome legal arrangements in this area, and to release to their rightful owners productive assets that have been tied up in a legal morass for decades.
So with that amendment, if you die without leaving a will, once your beneficiaries can prove that they were in fact related to you, it will be easier for them to inherit your estate. Besides the benefits to families, this is especially crucial for the current backlog of cases in our courts. But even with the changes, there's still no substitute for making a will. Learn how right now.
I'm Ian Wilkinson, attorney at law. Thank you for coming in to see me.
I'm here to make a will, but there are some questions that I need to get you answer for me before I even started.
I am glad that you have finally decided to make your will. It is a very important step in your life.
As is recommended before his visit, Mr. Rodney had prepared an inventory of his assets and decided how to share them among those he had chosen to benefit from his estate. To ensure the validity of his will, however, Mr. Rodney has to fulfill certain requirements by law. He has to be of sound mind and older than 18.
Are you over 18? Well, yes. Well, you look it, but I just wanted to make sure. And secondly, your will has to be in writing. All right? So a word of mouth will is not going to work. It has to be in writing. And that is one of the things we are going to do today, put it in writing for you. And thirdly, you have to sign it before your will can be valid. After all, it's yours.
Additionally, the will has to be signed by 2 witnesses at the same time. The legal will is ambulatory. It walks with you from the time it is made until you die. In other words, even though William Rodney makes his will today, it will take effect only upon his death. Indeed, Mr. Rodney is doing a wise thing by making a will. He's actually preventing his property from going on intestacy.
Intestacy is really the act of dying without making a will. Now, when you die without making a will, it can cause a number of problems. And one of the main problems is that there is nobody immediately in control of your estate. When you make a will, you normally name an executor, who is somebody who looks after your estate to make sure that who you say you want to get whatever will get it, or whatever you wish to be done will be done. It is very, very important when you appoint an executor, that you appoint someone who's very trustworthy. It is crucial because that person is going to be handling your estate, your property, your money, bank accounts, all of that. Very important. You wanted to ask a question about the executor?
One of the questions that is in my mind is how many executors can I use when I'm making my will?
I normally recommend at least 2. And the fact is, when you have 2, sometimes the executor might even die before you. And which is why I recommend to people that if you're appointing an executor or a witness, you must try and appoint somebody younger than you. Because the presumption is that a younger person will live longer than you. You should appoint somebody with some kind of business know-how, business sense. Somebody who has some degree of education and who can get around and handle himself or herself. All right? You understand?
Yes.
Good.
A friend of mine once asked me if an executor should be paid because he's the person looking after the will.
That's a good question. An executor can get payment. The law allows the executor to get 6% as his fees of the value of the estate, whatever it is. But he gets paid at the end.
Besides the executor, witnesses are an important component of the will, and attorneys find that wills are often invalidated based on the nature of the witness's association with the document.
People to whom you are giving gifts in your will, don't use them as witnesses. All right? Because if you're giving something to, say, John Brown, and you make John Brown sign the will, he's going to lose a gift. Because the law is that a witness cannot benefit under a will.
This is how we close the pages of today's program. Thank you for joining us. Please share your feedback. Email us at jamaicamagazine@jis.gov.jm. We also invite you to visit our website, jis.gov.jm, for the most current news. And download the JIS mobile app on your smartphones to stay in the know. I'm Theodore Henry, and this has been Jamaica Magazine. Till next time, take care.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.